I'm giving you access to a secret interview with 3 real estate investors that are each doing 100 to 300 real estate investment deals every year. You will get a deep look into the businesses of multimillionaires. They will answer questions that you usually don't hear, and you will be surprised at how little they work because of how they run their business. You will get the insights of businesses that are collectively doing over 500 deals a year. So buckle up and enjoy. These guys I've known for a while. They're all givers, which is awesome because they're going to play full out and I know give a lot of value to you guys. By the way, if you want to put it on speaker view, I think you can see the four of us here. It'd be easier to see who's talking and whatnot. So I'll let them introduce themselves. I'm going to ask them some questions. I'd love for you guys to participate as well. So if you guys could put either questions in the chat or a topic that you want to discuss. So whether it's raising private money, hiring, innovations, whatever it is, just put it in the chat. I'd love to hear what you guys came for, and we'll roll with my questions until we start getting some of your guys' questions. So let's start with Michael McDonald. So Michael's become a good friend in the last few years. So Michael, tell them a little bit about your business, what you do, kind of your exit strategies, and then start drilling you guys with some questions.
Awesome. Well, good to be here, man, and honored to be on the panel. So nice to meet everybody. So just a little bit of background. My business is based in Nebraska. A little bit about me. I am married, had a third kid, so that's a huge win. Actually, I forgot to share just a month ago. So I had a newborn, so I'm a dad of 3 now. Talk about getting used to a new routine. I moved to Las Vegas 4 years ago, and when I did that, I had to figure out how to run my business pretty much entirely virtually. And with doing that, we ended up figuring out how to lock up deals over the phone very efficiently. And one thing led to the next. And now we do a heavy amount of flipping. Although we can do wholesale, we can do novations, we take down quite a few properties in our core market. But at this moment in time, I have flips going on in Nevada, Iowa, Nebraska, in Arkansas. I have a couple flips going on in Arkansas as well. So all over the place in terms of like where we do business. Really, we're just looking for great, deeply discounted deals. 100% inbound. So, being a part of Tony's mastermind, we run TV. We just fired up TV in Las Vegas, just picked up our first deal from that effort, which is pretty awesome. And we're buying a property in California for $5,000 down, which is pretty insane if you think about it. So exciting. My team right now, we've cut back the fat a little bit. We're seven full-time employees, ramping up marketing efforts. And what my team looks like now is I have 3 lead managers. I have 2 full-time acquisition managers. I have a full-time transaction coordinator, a full-time executive assistant, and I have a marketing manager as well as a tech support who really helps with operations. And I have a COO. Which is the newest addition within the last 6 months. And after, I would say, running my business very much not like a business. And the reason I say that is because if I stepped away, my business would not perform and not continue to pump revenue. With my operator, he's crushing it. Everything seems to be running really efficiently, and I'm not a part of all of the decisions, which is awesome. So it definitely didn't start that way. It took me 4.5 years to figure that out. But now that I've got that person in place, it's been a huge game changer. So that's a little bit about me and what I have got going on right now.
Congrats, man. So talk about lifestyle. When I met Michael, I think he just moved to Vegas from Nebraska. So investing in Nebraska, figured out he wanted to live somewhere else, moved to Vegas, kind of like I did from Wichita to San Diego, and decided what lifestyle he wanted to live. And congrats on, I mean, that's a short amount of time, 4.5 years to get from, pretty much starting out, right? I think it was about 4.5 years ago when you started out to being able to grow your business where it is now and automate it and get it where it doesn't really need you anymore is unbelievable. So congrats on that, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's been a lot of fun and hasn't been easy. We learned a lot of lessons last year, I would say. If you're actively full-time in real estate, hopefully we can share some lessons that we learned last year. But as far as lifestyle goes, man, I mean, I had the most fun I ever had traveling and going on vacations, taking my kids to Disney, doing different things like that, and I couldn't have done that without the real estate business, honestly, just from a financial perspective and then also just from a time freedom perspective. So it's been a lot of fun, man.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So I want to take a moment to share with you 10X TV. It is the buzz in the real estate investing world right now. And guess what? I was one of the first to do TV commercials over a decade ago. If you want high quality, motivated seller leads that are asking you to do business with you instead of you reaching out to them, go to claimmymarket.com. And we will show you our TV launch formula. We have the shows and stations that we know work. We have the scripts that we know work. We've basically taken the formula that I've created over the last decade plus that I've been doing TV commercials, and we are now plugging it in for over 100 real estate investors around the country. And if you want to be one of those as well, reach out to us. ClaimMyMarket.com. If you want to 10x your marketing, go and apply and see if we have a spot in your market. Now back to the video. All right, Michael Smith, you want to give an intro and tell people who you are and your different kinds of strategies and how you've gone from where you are now a little bit till, or where you were to where you are now?
Yeah, so I started with TV, August 17th of 21, and I was working a full-time job and got fired the same day they saw my TV ads run. So I had to figure it out real quick, and very grateful that I had inbound from the start. That's all I've ever done is inbound. Last year, we've been wholesale heavy. I'm trying to get to an 8-figure wholesale business this year. Got a lot of upward headwinds to kind of figure out, but I think we'll do it. Last year we did 2.3 in assignments on 140 something deals, so just over 15K assignment, and we're looking to see what we can do to crush that and do about 4X this year out of Columbus, Ohio.
Nice, sweet. And you're doing multiple markets, so that's cool. Not many people have successfully been able to do multiple markets. So I think you're in 3 markets now, right?
Yeah, we started a third one March 1st.
Awesome, good stuff. Looking forward to diving into that. James Coldy, what's up, man? Tell us a little bit about your business and where you are right now.
Hey, Tony, thanks for having me. I'm out of Minneapolis. We do about 50-50 wholesale deals to flips. Last year, I think we did 188. So I think 88 of them were flips, 100 of them were wholesales. I guess you could probably say we're probably one of the original OGs on the TV for everybody. I've been doing TVs from day one. We've been in business. We call this our 8th buy-in year. So yeah, we're pretty excited. TV's just been absolutely great from day one from us. I like to tell the story of the phone rang the very first day, and it was a deal right out of the gates. Doesn't always happen that way, just so everybody knows. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Cool. Awesome. And James recently, kind of like I did, kind of was like burnt out with the business and decided he needed to figure some things out and automate the business and step out. So recently, I think was it like last August or so, you finally kind of stepped out of the operations of your business, pretty much.
Yeah, it's funny you actually say that. I actually just stepped back in as of Monday. We had some things go on, and so I'm actually stepping back in. We got a new venture. We're going to start licensing in our home guy's name in different cities. I think the Knoxville guys are actually on. I think they start TV next Monday. So it's kind of that's one of our next adventures is basically just selling licensing agreements. We think we figured it out. Actually, we know we figured it out the home guy's way. These guys saw a podcast and basically kind of making a dream come true. This is our big, this is our vision from day one, 7-8 years ago when we came up with all this. So, well, that's kind of one of the other reasons why I jumped back into to see how I can push that and see where we can take it to the next level.
Yeah. It's funny when you kind of step out of something, you get a little bored or something happens where you figure out how to jump back in and get yourself busy again or start a new business or do something to occupy your time. So I totally get that.
It was pretty neat how the team, I literally came through the door and the team's like, he's back. Because I bring a lot of energy to the team. You're right. You do get bored and you almost have to go do another adventure and then either come back to it. But it's great to have my team that's still in place. That's what's really nice, that I was able to step away and then come back in and my team's still there and supporting me too. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. And you have the option to kind of step back out if you want to and, take a little time off if you need to. So that's what it's all about. It's not necessarily, getting to that point where, it's having the option, right? It's being able to do what you want to do when you want to do, how you want to do it is in my opinion. So anytime I start something new, I figure is how much time is it going to take of mine and what effort do I have to put in, which I want to put in this much effort and get this much output, right? Whereas it's usually the other way around, especially when you start something, you're putting all of this in and you're just getting this little bit out. And then as time goes on, you learn kind of how to flip that around. So,
right. Somebody told me is you never want to sell your whole business because you always want that core, that your core is still there. I've heard too many stories where people got sick and tired of their business, sell it, traveled around the world for 3 years, and they come back and go, now what? Now they got to start exactly what you just said, start back from all of that. Now, if you have a core team, you can step back in and build something a lot quicker too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So cool. So I've got my list of questions, but I've got some questions here in the chat. So keep those coming. So Elliot says, with TV, how much do you qualify the lead before setting an appointment with your acquisitions person? Michael, you want to jump in on that one?
Yeah, mine's going to be probably a little bit different. I think a couple of these guys maybe run an in-person model. So for us, we're a hybrid. So remember I said Nebraska is my core market. However, we just started running TV in Las Vegas as well. A lot of our TV leads are going to be, kind of sporadic, just like any inbound channels. You're going to have people in different parts of the state even. So it's not even always feasible to go on an appointment. So for us, we always qualify based on the same factors. It's always urgency, motivation, price, and condition. And based on those factors, if the lead would be, reasonable and qualified, that will then get passed over to our closer, which will take them through a process, and then we'll go ahead and make them an offer. Or if timing's not right, then we'll set up a follow-up for that.
Awesome. Michael Smith.
Yeah, for us, everything goes directly to our acquisitions manager because we're all inbound and they just qualify them. And I think it's 98% of our deals that close are all over the phone. So we do not go out to very many properties and haven't found the need to.
Cool. James?
We're pretty much belly to belly. If you're in the Twin Cities metro area, we find it that you have to go belly to belly. We can maybe on the outskirts, we can do virtual. We find that I would say 98% are the other way, belly to belly versus virtual.
Yeah, we close on it. It all depends on your area, how receptive they are to it, your team, how they present it, and then also your model. If you're wholesaling and you're novating, it's probably a lot easier to not have to look at the property. But for us, we close on everything, so we're belly to belly too. We go out, we want to see what kind of condition the property's in. When we would put a property under contract, 99% of the time, like I can only remember probably 2 or 3 deals in the last 23 years that we have had to back out of. It didn't have to do with title issues or something outside of our control where our team just didn't run the numbers right. So we want to make sure that when we lock something up that we close on it. So as far as qualifying, obviously for us, we want to put out a general price. So sometimes we give like a price range. Sometimes we give them a roundabout price, just depends on property itself. But for us, we always want to make sure that they don't know too much on the property or else it's just a dead deal, and then give them either a price range or a pretty roundabout price of where we're going to be to feel them out, because we don't want to waste our time going out there if we need to be at 100,000 and they are dead set at 150,000. But on the other hand, we notice that if they have the property paid off, and especially if they inherited the property, they're willing to probably take a lot less than what they said. So our rule of thumb is if it's paid off, we go to the property, because we've actually had people take a 50% cut from where they were down to our price, and the property's paid off and they were able to do that. Whereas if obviously they owe too much, then there's no reason to go out and take a look at it. So Elliot, hopefully we answered your question there. And how about growing and managing a sales team? This one's the tough one. So Michael McDonald.
Yeah. So I would say, as James said, he's been trying to fire himself as a COO. I've been trying to fire myself as the sales manager for a long time. And I'm not a COO for my company anymore, but I'm still overseeing the sales team, right? It's kind of funny how that works. For us, it's been very challenging, but one of the biggest piece of advice that I could give is you have to have a really crystal clear expectation, and you have to have a good onboarding process and daily training with your sales team. And so every morning, like clockwork, 10 o'clock, the sales team gets together, they report the previous day's numbers, and we hold them accountable to the expectations that we have. If they're not hitting them, which it happens, we had to fire somebody at the end of the year because they weren't hitting their expectations. So finding somebody who's as hungry as you as the business owner, I would just say good luck. But there's good people out there who want to and have what it takes to do it. You just have to make sure to communicate that vision so they want to work for you.
Awesome. Michael Smith, this is something you've done in a lot in a very short amount of time, is growing your sales team. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah, a lot of it's what Michael said. I've been sales manager the entire time. Sales is what I came from and why I got into this, because I was buying properties before off of wholesalers and realizing they were making more money than I was. So for me, it's daily training. It's finding people who are coachable. I like to find athletes that made it through all 4 years of college, or people who have been with the same company for 3 to 4 years. We're finding people, in our interview process, we have them make a mock call, and then we just, no matter if it's good or bad, we just tell them it was one of the worst ones we ever heard and just see how they respond to it, because that's the person who's going to do really well is when they hear they're doing bad, instead of like trying to fight you or say you're wrong, they're going to come back and say, okay, can you educate me and tell me what I could have done better? And if they respond that way, I'm like, okay, they're coachable. Last, just like someone who doesn't get offended when someone says no, or upset when someone says no, or like when we have a 55K assignment that was supposed to close today, and the seller got a realtor yesterday, and I had a feeling it was going to go sideways. It didn't close. That sales rep could have been all upset about it because I mean, he was on track to close 200K, which is almost 9% commission. That's some pretty good math. Or he could get back on the phones. He chose to get back on the phones. That's someone who's going to do well instead of worrying about what didn't happen, focusing on what you can control, which is the next phone call.
Good stuff. How about you, James?
Building a sales team. I found the perfect version of myself, and we hired her. She's a female version of me, and normally I say that about my daughter, but she's pretty awesome. She can really run the team. She comes with 5 kids, and she's still juggling 5 kids, and now she's got to juggle 5 other people at work. So I've heard somebody say something where they hire a stay-at-home mom or a mom, and they actually kick butt at those positions because they're so used to juggling everything around. So she's been with us for almost 3 years. One of the other things we do is we don't like to hire realtors. We like to hire investors, or we actually like to hire somebody who's just in sales, and then we're going to teach them the investing side, and then we're going to make them a realtor, because everybody of our team is a realtor. And we look at that as, if we're going to go out to a house, we might as well build a rapport. And if we can't buy their house for cash, hey, maybe we can still list it and keep moving forward. So plus it puts a lot more integrity, not just a little bit, a lot more integrity towards when we're buying, or we're going up against another wholesaler. So I really look at that. That's pretty huge. But like I said, training, we've tried to take realtors that have been around for 10, 15, 20 years and teach them. They don't get the discount part. They think a discount is like $10,000 off. I'm like, no, it's like 30,000, 30%. So that's probably one of the biggest things that I think, we don't go anywhere without our sales, right? We don't really go anywhere without our marketing. And then our marketing is our sales. So I think our sales is one of the most important things we have to make sure we take care of your team. The other thing is making sure your team is always recognized. Empower your team. That's really, really huge. If you don't empower them and you micromanage, they're not going to stick around. So
yeah, I heard something the other day. Dan Martell, I think is his name. He said, "Manage the outcome, not the tasks." Right. And that hit me because like I'm someone that I want the outcome, but sometimes I'll get a little too granular with the task. So it's like, here's what I want. You guys figure out how to get there, and I'll train you, of course, and answer questions. But yeah, empowering for sure. And one thing I'll say about salespeople, that's probably one of the hardest to hire. And there's multiple reasons. I would say the main thing is that even if they're a decent salesperson, they're going to figure out how to sell you that they can do a good job, because it's not very hard to sell you that they can do a good job, right? But once they get in there, that's when you really go, oh shit, I was oversold, or something of that nature. So really digging deep, I think that's probably one of the deepest you have to dig, I think, into personalities and references and things of that nature as salespeople, is because they will tell you what you want to hear to get the job, right? But you don't know if they're going to perform. The other thing is that the good ones really, they typically want too much. And so if you don't give them what they want, they're going to trade money over what you give them, right? So not to talk bad about salespeople, but they are the toughest to hire, I think, and to retain, and so I think you guys kind of get the point there. So
you got to dangle shiny things in front of them every once in a while, Tony. Got to keep them occupied.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is so my sister does my acquisitions, right? And so she is not a salesperson whatsoever. She runs numbers, she manages the office, she actually does multiple roles. But a lot of people think that you have to have super sales ability to be able to sell. I think to me, it's almost more of like a personality, more of like the personality metrics of do they show up? Do they try hard? Do they do what they say they're going to do? I would pick a bad salesperson that does all of that and is a culture fit over someone that says, I can do all of these things and sells the crap out of you, but they don't show up or they don't do what they're supposed to on the other side. I've seen that too many times. So all right, cool. So Jason Lewis, do you guys split up your acquisitions and dispositions companies? Meaning, do you market and brand using the same for the acquisition and dispo side? And some people do, others have separate branding names, reviews, websites, and things of that nature. So Michael McDonald, do you split the names up of your dispositions and acquisitions? And actually, on top of that, I'd like you guys to answer, is your acquisitions department the same as your dispositions department?
Yep. So branding wise, split them both up. I didn't do that until I had a seller call me from the disposition line on one of the deals that sent out, and that was awkward. So we split that out since then, and our disposition department is separate from our acquisitions department. We don't use our salespeople on acquisitions to sell our deals.
Do you feel like there's a disconnect between the acquisitions and dispositions department?
Yeah, that's been a difficult gap to bridge from a communication perspective, like getting them all the information they need up front. So we've created like forms of things that the dispositions are going to have questions on that the acquisitions need to have filled out. That way it makes their job easier. But that's always a gap that's kind of been difficult to tie together for us.
Yeah. Cool. What about you, Michael? Do you split yours up?
So we are looking to do that right now. Is split the companies, and we're just trying to figure out what to name our dispo side. So we are going to be doing it. Haven't done it yet, and then we're going to run TV ads on the dispo side. Trying to figure that out. As far as sales reps, they're all in the same room, but they're two different roles. We don't let them. We have one guy who kind of fills in when needed. Whatever side needs help. But for the most part, they're all AC or all dispo, and so they can communicate to each other live when they're on calls, and it makes it a little bit easier on the communication there.
Cool. Awesome. What about you, James? Do you split your departments up?
Yeah, we definitely split acquisitions and dispositions up. At first, we didn't, and like Michael said, it gets very awkward when somebody calls and they see that you're putting their house up for, you're making 30 grand in between. So we definitely got rid of that. We started, it was a couple of years ago. Our goal here is to use our acquisitions as more as dispositions as more as a newsletter that goes out, because we do email blast certain times of the week, and it's constantly the same thing. So it's like Mondays at 3, Wednesdays at 10, and was it like noon on Friday? It's our goal was to have other wholesalers that are in the Twin Cities areas, hey, let us be your disposition person to get rid of the property for you. We've just been so busy, we really haven't been able to do that. We just thought why not try to figure out how to make even more money out of a disposition side. And they don't interact. The only time they interact is maybe, hey, Paul, you think you can get rid of this property for roughly the same amount we can make on a flip, and if he can, he gets rid of it. So that's the only kind of talking they do. Otherwise, they're pretty much in separate corners.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. All right, Brooks, thanks for the question. If you have realtors on your team, are you presenting a cash offer when belly to belly along with the option to list, or is it just one option presented to the seller? Michael McDonald.
Yeah, so our acquisitions are not realtors. However, I am owner in a brokerage as well. So we do have a way to funnel in realtor referrals. So we do definitely capitalize on that. But our acquisitions team is always going to go for the deep discount for the wholesale as low as possible. If that doesn't work, we're actually pitching novations as well. So if they want a higher price, it's a nicer home, we're going to go ahead and shoot for the novation. If that doesn't work, then we'll refer it out to the agent. So we have a couple of different exit strategies, and we've done creative as well. But realistically, it's like we're just trying to flip it, and if we can't do that, we're going to refer it out.
Cool. Michael Smith, do you have realtors on your team?
Yeah, I don't have any realtors. We're just focused on the cash. Every now and then we'll do a novation. We're just trying to get the best at being the best cash buyers first.
Cool. What about you, James?
Yeah, we're definitely all realtors. What we try to do is we're paying a lot for those leads, and we want to monetize every single dollar that comes out. So if we can help them out, we like to say we're a full solution real estate company. You come to us with an issue, let's figure it out for you. So we do give multiple offers and different routes.
Cool. Yeah, my acquisitions person, my sister, she is a licensed realtor, but she does not really list properties. So we just refer those out. I think we did try at one point in time, and people when they want cash offers typically want a cash offer, and if they're going to deal with a realtor, they kind of feel like it's bait and switch sometimes if you're coming out as a realtor, is what we've kind of found. So we actually just refer those out to another realtor. We actually have several clients that are paying for their ad spend just from realtor referrals. So that is we don't do a great job of that, I'll be honest with you. We just don't focus on it a lot, but we do have clients that pay for their ad spend just from realtor referrals. So if you guys have realtors on your team, if you have realtors you can refer to, you can, make, I don't know, a few $1,000s a month at least from those referrals. We actually have client of ours, I think, was doing like 8 to 10 grand a month just in realtor referrals, which is crazy. I don't know how he was doing it, but he was doing a really good job. I think the realtor was on his team actually, now that I think about it. So
that's how we have it set up, Tony, is we don't want them to actually turn it around and run with the listing. They get a percentage of that listing, and they tee up. Their job is to tee up the in-house person. Because again, we had it before where they would get 50% of the listing, and now they're trying to jockey how they're going to make the most money. And so their goal is to 100% buy for cash, or if they realize it's not going to go that way, tee up that in-house person. Because you don't want your acquisitions always buying. That's you're gonna get burned on that.
Yeah, and don't ask if they want a realtor referral. Just tell them. We found that's helped a little bit, where we're like, okay, we're going to connect you with a realtor and have them give you a call, instead of like, hey, do you want a realtor to call you? They're going to know almost every time. So instead, tell them.
That's a great idea.
And you're more likely to get them to talk to the realtor for sure. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to jump into my questions because you guys ran out of questions here. So if you guys have any more questions, please do put them in the chat. So for those that are growing their team, which I think almost everybody is at some point looking to hire in the near future, what is the one hire, or maybe even two hires, whatever you want to get into, that has helped you the most in your business? So I know people ask me like, what should my first hire be that are solo entrepreneurs? So I'll kind of answer that here in a little bit. But Michael McDonald, what's one of the, if not maybe the top two hires that you made in your business?
Yeah, so I think you really need to figure out what your unique ability is. Most of the real estate investors who I talk to like sales and are good at it, which is what makes them successful. So you want to get the paperwork, the data work, all of that kind of stuff off your plate. So for us, it was a transaction coordinator. Got them doing the paperwork side of things. And then in order to scale, needed somebody to start taking the calls. So whether that be a lead manager until you can hire a closer, but those couple were our first hires.
Cool. Michael Smith.
Yeah, I think what really transitioned was last January when I hired a sales guy. I really just spent the time training him and educating him, reviewing every call. And I think last year he closed his first 12 months, 1.1 or something like that. And he'll, I think, double that this year. I think the best hire for me is going to be sales management because I hate that part of the business. And we got that guy starting here in about 2 weeks. So I'm really excited for him to come on board and really do a better job than what I do at it.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. James.
TC, Michael's spot on. You need somebody to run all your paperwork. I've closed so many deals. I've never done the paperwork in my life. And that person is actually my wife. So she was one of our very first persons that we hired. And I remember my business partner was like, what happens if we have to fire her? I go, well, then we have to fire her, for crying out loud, you know? I mean, she's a big girl, but this is the person that we want, that we can trust. And that's worked out really well. Obviously. The other one was a sales manager. That's really, really huge. You really have to trust that person. And that's when I think I mentioned before, my sales manager is me, and she can think outside the box. She can keeps everybody in control. I think that's probably been the one of the other best hires we've hired too. So maybe I'm onto something that they're both female too. So
Hey,
Well, we can't
guys,
say it out loud.
what's
where
that?
did you where did you find your like who's a great candidate for a sales manager? Because Michael, you just said you hired one, and James, you're talking about the lady who's like you, who's great. Like, is there a
It's
certain background that we should?
I don't know, because again, I can't compare her because she is female, I'm a male. So I don't somebody who can pivot. I mean, my background was I was a firefighter. I had to be able to, think outside the box at any given time. You need somebody that definitely is that can pivot, and she can pivot.
Yeah,
She's texting me right now and making fun of me now, so it's kind of funny. She must be listening.
so yeah, wives hear everything, even if they're not there. So for me, I think the very beginning, admin, like when I have a in-person mastermind, one of the favorite things I like to do is called the oh gosh, it's been a while since I've done it, the activities analysis. And so you'll list everything that you do in your business and put a dollar value on it and importance to it. So obviously the dollar value is pretty self-explanatory. The importance would be 1, 2, or 3. One is it brings a lot of value to your business, brings income in, and you like it, and you like to do it, and you're good at it. And then at the other end of it is 3, which is you don't like to do it, you're not good at it, and doesn't bring in a lot of money. And take those number 3 activities and try and hire someone to take care of those. Personal assistant. Back in the day, I was managing a bunch of my own properties, so I had them take on property management. Then I had to do transaction coordination. So getting all of those low-level activities off of you so that you can focus on the sales, you can focus on the marketing, and then eventually you'll hire, sales managers or marketing managers and things of that nature to replace yourself. Some people say, "Oh, I want to hire a COO and then build the team down." You could do that, but if they're not very good, you're going to spend a lot of money and they're going to make a lot of wrong hires. So I always like to start from the bottom, get all the mundane stuff taken off my plate or, the business's plate, whichever business it is, and then build it up from there. All right, cool. So great question, Devron. So how much do you spend per month on marketing? Michael McDonald, do you want to answer that one?
We are this year committed to spending $55,000 a month, and that'll fluctuate between 55 and 60. And really just reverse engineered what our revenue goal was, and we're going to reevaluate at the end of the quarter. But I told my sales team I'm committed, and no excuses from there.
Nice, very nice. Michael Smith.
Yeah, we're right around 65. I think January was a little bit higher because we upped our Columbus and Cleveland ends, and then we started another market. So our goal is to get to about 100 a month.
Very nice. What about you, James?
I laugh. We're scheduled 1.2, 1.3 this year in advertising is what we're projected.
It's about 100K a month. Hefty spends there, but you know what happens? You find what works, you continue to add to that, and then you find another marketing method. I know James doesn't have a lot of marketing methods. He does mainly one. But I get this question all the time, like, can you just have one? Can you just do TV? Can you just do, and it can happen, like you can, but what happens if that marketing method doesn't do well for a few months for whatever reason, whether it's TV and when the political campaigns come out and they flood you with all kinds of different marketing on TV or other TV commercials, and either you have to pay more or people don't watch as much or whatever the situation is. I'm the proponent to do as many things as you possibly can. So we spend, I don't know what the exact number is, it's at least 20,000, somewhere between 20 and 30,000 a month. And we do everything you could possibly think of. We do TV, radio, postcards, Google PPC, Facebook. We have a digital billboard that we own on one of our commercial properties that we have. So almost every single thing. We don't do cold calling and texting. We don't really do any outbound. And some of those marketing methods don't even return that much. We just know that we want to be everywhere. So like our PPC and our Facebook, we get a 1 to 2 times return on our money, and sometimes we'll get a 3 times if we're lucky. But we just want to be everywhere. And we don't know if those marketing methods are actually helping our other marketing methods, where it may be 1 to 2 on this side, but it's really closer to 3 because it helped us get deals on the other side, or they told us it was from another marketing campaign when it was really this one. So people ask that question, what should the minimum return be? And to me, if we can break even and do it, or especially do it 2 to 3 times, we're definitely going to keep it. So just
Hey Tony, we actually do a lot more than maybe you think. Yeah, we do. I just saw somebody was asking the big channels that we do. Obviously, we do TV, a lot of PPC. We do mailings. We just don't. We always have to dabble. My suggestion is make sure you're always dabbling, like what Tony said. Always dabble in something else besides your main line. You never know when that's going to go a little sideways for a little while. So that's the best advice I can say. Just so somebody was asking, a lot of it's PPC, TV. We also do billboards. I think we need to talk Tony about some radio, and they all work together like you just said. One feeds the other. It's a lot of branding. You want to make sure if you're going to have a brand that you're branding, that really works well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and consider it a long-term play. I mean, obviously, if you're spending money on PPC and you're literally getting no deals, then you want to cut it. But if you're making a little money or breaking even, like I said, I mean, it's a long-term play, because at some point there might be a year where it just all of a sudden you get a 5 to 10x return because you close a few big deals, So usually averages out in your favor if you stick to it long term. So cool, Brooks, looking for some general advice here around the sales manager role. I have hired a handful of acquisitions managers and lead managers in the last 12 months, and I'm failing as a manager. I can close deals, but feel like I become the fallback person to attend the seller appointment with them to help them close. Therefore, I don't end up hiring myself out of a job. So I bet you every single one of us have been there. What are some things that you guys have done to overcome that, to hire someone that doesn't have to be micromanaged and can do their job by themselves? Michael McDonald.
Well, I don't have a sales manager yet. I am that person. So I'm with you, Brooks. Honestly, it's been a tricky one for me to also get out of as well. I'll still close deals from time to time because I love to do it. And that's a weakness, right? My team, I shouldn't be getting on the phones and closing deals probably, but it's tempting when you like it and you're good at it. So one thing that I would say definitely would help from a management perspective is I've had an acquisition manager who had sales experience, and they're used to managing their own pipeline, and they're used to, eating what they kill. So, if you give them the right tools and the resources and you have a good rapport with them, it makes managing very easy. So that's definitely nice when you can just find a salesperson who gets the job done. Makes management a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Michael Smith.
Yeah, so how I'm looking at it is I had 10 years of sales experience with $3 billion plus companies. And I was top 10 rep at all three of those companies. And I look at all the sales managers I had. For the most part, they were only hired because they were good sales reps or promoted to sales manager. They weren't actually really good sales managers. So the best sales managers I've ran into are really good listeners, really good at understanding and keeping their salespeople on task. I haven't found many salespeople who are good at staying on task and keeping up and following up with sellers and all those things. They're really good at listening to people, or it can be a learned skill. And to me, the best sales managers can go in, listen to the calls, give them feedback, coach them up, and then handle emotions. I think a ton of salespeople are super emotional. So if you can handle those emotions and know when that person's being emotional and really break down like, hey, what's going on in your life that's causing this? Because a lot of times it's not work related, and then help them out with whatever that problem is, they get back on track to closing deals, which I have found to be really a huge help with my sales team. Whenever they're dipping, it's typically something's happening outside of life, and I got to go figure that out and help them manage that problem, whatever it might be. And so that's what we're looking for in a sales manager, someone who understands sales process, stuff like that. I don't expect them to be the best at sales, but I do expect them to be the best at handling employee emotions, understanding what's going on in their lives, and how to help improve their lives, because when their lives are improving, they're doing better at work.
I don't handle
Thanks for describing my sales manager. I defer
I
to the
figured that was the
last.
case because females are really good at that. They are.
Right. You hit it spot on. That's exactly where she's at. Where I that was probably the one thing my emotions are. I want to tell them just to go pound sand, right? I mean, she's probably
Do
a
the
little better
job,
than
like
that.
do the work.
Yeah.
What are you
So,
here to do? You get paid.
I'm HR's worst nightmare, you know.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, that's you said it right. I don't even know if I can even add anything else to that. Spot on.
Cool. Awesome. Good stuff, guys. Sterling, do you offer, oh, skip down. Do you offer radio management too? Yep, we do radio as well. So I do TV and radio, as I mentioned. My media team has been doing radio for 20 plus years. They can manage radio like the back of their hand, like TV. So we absolutely do that. Oh, let's see. Sorry, my screen here is a little small on the chat. Saw a good question here. Where is it? Eric Hitzelberger, what key metrics are you tracking on ad spend, and what are the actual numbers? Cost per lead, cost per deal, leads per deal. Michael, do you know your numbers? Michael McDonald?
All right. Let me find that question again. What was the first part of that, Tony?
What key metrics are you tracking? Are you doing cost per lead, cost per deal, leads per deal? And then I think he wants to know the numbers if you have them too.
So all of it, especially when you're spending really any amount of money, you should be tracking your numbers. But when you start to spend 50, 60, 100,000 a month, like it's life or death for a small business to track your numbers. So what I'll say is we have two different components. When a lead comes in, we're tracking if it's a legit qualified lead or if it's not, meaning solicitations, somebody take me off the list because we do direct mail as well. As far as like telling you exactly right now, I'd have to look. But historically speaking, I can just kind of give you a last year type from 2023, and we'll talk about costs per deal. Cost per deal was high for us. We were probably $7,000, maybe $8,000 last year. It was really high for us. So a lot of that had to do with some poor sales performance. Like I said, we fired somebody. And various other things, right? Trying to maneuver the market, which is why I said there's some lessons that we learned last year. But ROI on our marketing, if we're not at least like Tony said, 2x return on investment. So we track how much did we spend, what deal came in that gives that marketing channel credit, and what was our ROI. If we're not at least 2x, we're reevaluating it.
Cool. Michael Smith.
For us, our cost per deal is about $3,500. I don't remember all the KPIs that were being do I track them? Yes. What really helped me track them all, Tiffany and Josh High. They're good buddies of mine, and I think Michael's in their coaching program too. I think he would say they have a lot of good systems in place and processes and really know their numbers inside and out, and I'm trying to get to their level. But yeah, definitely track them. The biggest thing I look for, we close 1 in 8, or we lock up 1 in 16 and close about 1 in 19. So we're trying to get that down. We get a ton of deals that aren't even closable, but I think there's still opportunities there. So I've always found whenever that creeps above 1 in 16, I start counting the team, and it's amazing that they bring it right back down. So
Very nice. What about you, James?
I wish I could say I was the numbers guy on this team, but I'm not. So, guys, I have no idea. When I go to these mastermind groups and when I present, I'm presenting numbers that I have no idea. We got pretty big pretty quick, and I know everyone's going to probably get down on me for not knowing the numbers, but I really do trust my team. My business partner, he knows the numbers. I guarantee it. I know stuff that he doesn't know, and vice versa, and then it comes with the trust. So, again, maybe be a little tap dancing here a little bit, but it is what it is.
Now, I've always been the person over the years, which has done okay for me, but probably could have done it better. Is there money in the bank? Are we making money? So
Right.
finally last year, I just started diving into the numbers. So I'll just share my numbers with you guys. We spent 250 last year, did 1.4 in assignments. Profit per deal, I don't have it averaged out, but based on we do it per channel, so we can see how much we make per channel. 23,000 to 36,000 per deal. Cost per lead probably averages out around 800. Our highest is 1,600. Our lowest is 688. SEO, we don't really count 120 just because we don't spend a lot, but we allocate a lot to SEO, even though we're not sure if it's our SEO efforts or, them finding us on Google Maps and things of that nature. And then cost per purchase is between 6,000 and 9,000. And what did you say yours was, Michael? 7,000?
Yeah, between 7 and 8 last year, which to me is unacceptable. It needs to be 4 to 5 where I'm going to feel a lot better about it. So we'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, it also depends on how much you're making per deal. Like I think I'm kind of okay with that just because our profit per deal is over 30,000 at as high as 36 for some marketing channels. And it's actually probably higher for some deals because we keep some of ours long term, so we actually make more money on those deals. We don't really count that additional revenue and appreciation in the future, but there is some there for sure. All right, cool. Bunch of questions coming in. Love it. Let me
Hey,
get down.
Tony, one question I have is how much we close 50, we're averaging like 40 to 50,000 a month just off of our website. How much are you guys closing off your website?
Let me go back to the numbers here. Like I said,
Like last month was 61,000 for us.
yeah, when people say they Googled us, we can't
They,
allocate anywhere else. Um, I mean, we only bought 6 deals last year, but we made close to 180,000 on those 6 deals from SEO. So
Mhm. We're in the same boat.
yeah, Michael James, what do you guys have for SEO? Do you guys have numbers for your SEO? Like James, never mind, you don't have any numbers.
Thanks. I can get them. I just don't have them right now.
I'm gonna look at my CRM. I know our website performs really well though. Um, it, I mean, we probably do a few 100,000 from just our website alone. I'm trying to check right now though.
And the problem with those, you don't know if it's your other marketing methods, right? If you send a postcard, if you do TV or something, and they go to your website and they don't tell you, that they came from that other marketing.
Yeah, our biggest thing that we ask Tony is when somebody calls us, our inside sales will pick up and they'll ask what channel just to see if, hey, did you, or ask the specific question, did you see us on TV? And if they said they saw us on TV, it automatically goes to TV. If they don't, then we can figure out that it's actually it's a true internet lead or
Mm-hmm.
At
and
275.
it seems like we can get a good number off of that because I don't know of any other way to try to guess. I mean, how many times people see a billboard or
Well, we get a lot of people who see us on TV who go to our website as well. So that's another thing, is having to be able to track that. So yeah, we're in the same boat as you, James. Did they see us on TV? And if they did, I want to make sure to give TV credit because
Right.
we got to be able to track the ROI on that as well.
Cool. So Adam, any change in tactics or strategy for upper end markets? I'm getting leads where the properties are typically north of 700K ARV. My opinion is those upper end, I don't really like doing those. I actually have one right now that I did last year with a partner, and I'm regretting it because we're going to lose some money on it in Indianapolis, I think is where it's located. And we had a couple other ones that were not quite that high, but kind of pushing up there that we lost some money on. Those are the only ones that I lose money on, seems like, are the ones that are over like 400,000. And those were in other markets. Typically in our market, we don't lose money on deals, but I think novations is probably something you can look into on those upper end properties because it's going to be less risk. What about you guys, Michael Smith? Or Michael McDonald to start out with? Do you deal with any upper end properties, or you just refer those out to realtors?
Pretty much just refer them all out to a realtor, because even on novations, they're going to take a lot longer to sell. So we tend to stay away from those.
Mhm. Michael Smith?
Yeah, for us, I take them. Like there was that one I was telling you I won on. No one wanted it. I was like, man, worst case scenario, this thing sold at 450. I make 15K. We listed at 459. We got offers at 475, fell out, and we're closing Monday at 480 now. We had another one, same thing, 700. I was like, worst case scenario, I make 30. It's in a neighborhood where like things aren't dropping, and we went like $70,000 over. And that was all post June 22, by the way. So I'll if my worst case scenario isn't that bad, I'll take it. Like my worst case scenario may be 10 grand, but I'm like, okay, I'll do it. The neighborhood's right. I know if I hold it, worst case scenario, I'll hold it, and I'll make my money in the long term. So if we can make money on flip, we're taking it.
What about you, James? Upper end prop.
We're gonna wholesale it, but it's gonna figure out like what part of the year it's at. If I know that if I get the house maybe in October, that's perfect. I'm gonna spend a few months rehabbing it. We have a couple of them that will jump over, you know, $150 in rehab, but we try to only do one or two at a time. We don't want to load everything up, because just like you, where we've typically have lost money when we go over 450. So it's it has to be a certain time of the year, otherwise we just wholesale it.
Cool. All right. What CRM do you use that keeps your lead flow the most organized and automated so they don't fall through the cracks? So someone said this perfectly. How did they put it? All CRMs suck. You just have to find the one that sucks the least. Because they have some kind of disconnect in some way that doesn't work for your business. So for us, we use RE Simply. That seems to be the most simple one that we found, and they're good at correcting things that are kind of glitches and adding different features over time. So, Michael McDonald?
Yeah, we're with you on Resimply. However, we kind of ran into a bottleneck last year with the amount of leads that we had coming in and losing the leads. And so for that reason, we developed out Salesforce, and I'm kind of regretting it now, because I talked to the owner of Resimply, and like he's talking to people who are doing 20 plus deals a month and trying to figure out how to please them too. So like you said, Tony, Resimply is great. They're beginning to innovate even more. So may have made that decision too soon.
Yeah. I actually have a discount code, resimply.com/REM. I just put it in the chat. So if you guys use that to book a call, I don't know if you book a call or sign up, but Sherrod, the owner, gave me that code for our clients. So I'm going to share that with you guys. If you want a discount, I can't remember what the exact discount is, but then also I have a resources page that has other resources too. So I just put that in the chat. Typically, give that to clients, but there's different PPC providers and whatnot. And actually, Michael can talk about his PPC here in a little bit too. So you guys can go there and get some good resources. So sorry, Michael Smith, CRM.
Yeah, I use Resimply as well. It's not perfect. Leads get lost, but I'm making money, so I'm okay with it. Their phone system's actually pretty good. They just came out with an update where I could whisper in to my leads. It has its glitches, but I have confidence Rashad will figure it out. And that's why I stick with them. Is whenever there's a problem, they do a good job fixing it. And any problem that's come up, if I was with a Salesforce, I couldn't fix it faster than what they're doing. So if that's the case, why the hell would I go build out a Salesforce? So until that happens, I won't change it. I just believe in Sherrod and his vision. And I think in the next 18 months or 2 years, he'll have a perfectly built out system, and that's faster than what I could do it in. So I'm gonna stick with him. But it's not perfect. It is good enough, and it is getting better, and that's all I can ask for personally.
Cool, good stuff. What about you, James? What do you guys use? Do you know?
Oh yeah. I do. Believe it or not, I can actually get in there. It's Podio, and it sucks. I'm just gonna come out and say it. We're actually in the process of looking at a different CRM. The Nolans have one called Pete, and I don't know if you've ran across that one yet. We're testing that one out. REI Simple. we got to get rid of Podio. It feels like we just keep getting a band-aid. Like we wanted to do something and we spend 10 grand on the developers fixing it. And then that part works, but then something else doesn't work.
Yeah.
And we're just done. It shouldn't be that hard. It really shouldn't.
Yeah, we went down that road a long time ago with Podio and scrapped it. I don't know a lot of people using Podio anymore because of that issue. So let's see.
Before you go to the next,
Adam, sorry, I forgot you're in San Diego, Adam. Actually, 700K is low end in San Diego. But yeah, I mean it's still kind of the same thing. I mean it's still a good amount of money, but yeah, if you have a follow-up question to that, you can put it in here, but it's going to be kind of the same thing where that still is kind of a lot of money, and you can still kind of lose more than you could on like $150,000 house. Rob, does anyone track what their connection rate is with inbound leads? Example, if 100 SEO PPC leads come in a month, how many of them are you all connecting with? My team is trying to get better. So do you guys know what percentage of leads you connect with? I don't know if that's something anybody tracks. I think
we actually do track that. It's part of our KPIs, but my dashboard is down right now. That's why I can't tell you any numbers.
You mean your dashboard is somewhere you've never looked at it?
Well, no. Yeah, right. Yeah, we have a dashboard, and for whatever reason, because of Podio, there's a glitch, and so that's another reason why we're done with Podio.
Yeah, I hear you.
But we do track that number.
Yeah, I think very rarely can we not get a hold of somebody. Usually they call in and we can have the answering service answer and get their information. So I think we do have some slip through the cracks, but it's not very often. I'm sorry, Michael McDonald, did you answer that? Do you have any deals that usually slip through?
It was extremely low, like it was an extremely high percentage of the people that we couldn't get a hold of. And that was when we were running a high volume of leads that were just flying all over the place. And so that's part of the reason why we've changed. But I'll be honest with you guys, like a lot of our web leads are difficult to get a hold of for some reason. I don't know what it is. And I think it's more for the Facebook ads than it is for majority of the other ones. Organic website, they know who we are. They're easy to get a hold of. Other ones, though, have been challenging. So it's a high percentage, like 60% of 100% of the leads we're able to get a hold of. The other 40%, sometimes we can't.
Yeah, I have a feeling Facebook is because some people just want an offer when they really don't need an offer, or they just want to see what their house is worth. That's what we've found with Facebook leads. And then if it's PPC, they're usually filling out 3 or 4 different forms, and it's just basically whoever they get a hold of first that usually gets there first, and sometimes the only one that they talk to. So
yeah.
The ones we can never get a hold of are the ones that come in at 2:00 in the morning, because my guess is they're drunk. They got in a fight with their, spouse, and I'm selling the damn house, and they go out and they fill out something on the internet, and then you can never get a hold of them. So I always laugh when I see that what time it actually came in, because I go, likelihood of us not getting a hold of that person is pretty high.
Yeah. Nate S., have you had any issues with the phone system on RE Simply? I think someone mentioned the phone system.
Yeah, we've had good luck with it personally. They had one issue when they were switching over from the provider, but that was just on texting, not necessarily calls. So yeah, really good. Every now and then a call goes missing, and they've always been able to find it and give us that recording. So no complaints on Resimply's phone system. They only have a one-line dialer, I think, though, if you dial out a lot.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think we've had an issue with it, or else I probably would have heard about it. Jasper, follow-up question. When starting a new channel, do you give 90 days from launch to see a return, or would you give a brand new channel just a bit longer? Just launched PPC and I'm in the red 2 months in. LOL. So PPC might be different, but for me, when we look at TV, radio, Facebook, and Google, for sure, we'd want to give it, or actually, I'm sorry, not PPC, Facebook. Well, maybe PPC too. I always think that 6 months is a pretty good metric. I mean, really 12 months, because a year can change. Like you can get a killer deal we had talked to a client last week, and he almost stopped his ads at one point after about 6 months, and then he ended up continuing, and then it started kicking in. And then he told me the other day he just got a deal under contract or closed on it. He's splitting up the lots, and he's going to make like 250 grand from it, and that's going to totally up his numbers for last year because he got it under contract last year. So I'm under 90 days, very minimum. If you don't commit to 90 days, don't even do it. 6 months is a better metric, but really 12 months. Now, if you launch PPC and you're 2 months in, you literally have no deals and not very many leads, that's something to evaluate and say either I have the wrong provider, it's too competitive. I mean, there's a lot of different things to think about there. Michael McDonald, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. And I would ask you, how much are you spending a month and in what market? Because like Tony said, it's going to really vary on the market. And I'm in the same school of thought as you. Like if I can spend a couple thousand a month on a channel like PPC and get one deal every other month, it's not ideal, but like what size of deals are you doing? If you can do, say, even 4 or 5 deals a year and make 20,000 on average, and your ad spend was $20,000, you're good. Like that's a really good return. So yeah, you're definitely going to want to evaluate how much you're spending. So if you don't mind sharing that, that would be helpful.
Michael Smith, what do you think about that? How long do you?
Yeah, for us, yeah, I think 6 months is if you're gonna start something, do it for 6 months. Um, we just aren't gonna give up on something that quick. Especially like a lot of people will say, "Oh, I had a bad month," and then 3 months prior they had a 1 to 6x return. It's like, whoa, whoa, like there's ebbs and flows in business and ebbs and flows in everything. Why wouldn't you calculate that? So the longer time frame, if you look over a longer time frame, it almost always works out. So we're our goal is never to shut anything down, just increase ad spend.
Yep, cool. What about you, James?
The only channel that I know that gave something right away is TV. Otherwise, you have to. I mean, you have to sit there and play it out a little bit. Um, I always like what you guys were saying. Pretty much, you got to do a 6 month test. You could even go a little bit lighter and go 12 months. But you want to keep your toes in the water on everything, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Rob asked question, does anyone track what percentage of their deals come as a result of long-term follow-up? Michael Smith says 40% of his deals come 90 days or older, which is interesting. That's a pretty high number. What do you see, Michael McDonald? Do you see more of your deals coming from follow-up or from like right out of the gate?
It's a combination. I would say for us, like PPC, expect to get the most motivated sellers to convert fast. If you can get them while they're emotionally like over it, like James mentioned, you have an ex-husband who literally just got in a fight with his wife, and he's like, "I'm done with this house." But then you got to get the other person on the same page. So those ones convert fast, but overall, you still have to have a good follow-up sequence because we always get deals from follow-up too.
Yeah. James, do you know your numbers on follow-up?
I don't know the numbers, but I do know we started a campaign. My background's in the fire service, and we have no lead left behind is what we started 2 years ago. And when we first started the business, I will tell you, we were so laxated on our follow-ups. It was all new leads. And then we started realizing when we started the campaign of no lead left behind, we were starting to pull in more deals out of that. I can't tell you the percentage, but I do know that we actually follow up. And we've had deals where gone 2.5, 3 years before we finally got the deal. Got to set up a drip campaign. If you set up everything right, you shouldn't have to do anything. It should just automatically do it for you.
Yeah, I've heard both ends of the spectrum where some people are like, I would not do without follow-up because we get 40% of our deals or whatever the number is from follow-up. And then some people are like, we don't really do follow-up. We automate it, just like James said, because less than 10% of their deals come from deals over. And follow-up's kind of a loose term. Follow-up could be 2 weeks later, follow-up could be 2 years later, right? I think when was it was it a mastermind? I think there was like a poll, and I think most people said that 90 some percent of their deals usually are within 30 days of getting that lead. And we've seen the same thing. Like most of our deals were either first appointment, we're out there. We might have to do a second appointment, or we may have to do like a follow-up call and send a contract. But most of our deals come within 30 days. So cool. How do you fund your marketing? We use Capital One for everything we possibly can because we get the highest rewards, and then we just pay it off every month. Michael McDonald says he uses Chase Ink credit card. How do you guys fund your marketing, James and Michael Smith?
I think ours is on
Gosh, go ahead.
Chase card, I think.
Chase card also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a bank card that we use all the time. I mean, everywhere we fly, never pay for rental cars. I think we can even get gift cards for our team. We try to give out, we try to use your perks. Let's put it that way. Use your perks. If you're not doing it right.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you have to be disciplined. You don't want to rack up too many credit cards, but man, I think I've got at least 2 million, probably 2.5 million points between my credit cards. So it's like $20 to $25,000 worth of travel that we need to use, which my wife keeps begging us to use on Europe, but we'll get there this summer, I think. All right.
Mine wants to go there too.
Yeah, let's go together.
Yeah.
Or you can take my wife. We'll see.
Oh, what do we just send the wives?
There you go. Perfect. We'll go somewhere else. All right. So Ryan says, have you hired a business development manager that you cannot live without? That's a great question. Michael McDonald, have you hired anybody outside a business development manager to help you out?
Business development. So I did hire a recruiter who we had help us with some business development type stuff. She was great for us because she came from a hard money lending background. So she actually was able to bring some money relationships, some knowledge to the table from that perspective, which obviously helps with business growth. But she's been a great hire. I use her as my executive assistant right now since we're not like proactively hiring. So she's an A player. If you can find an A player, you just got to find something for them to do. And that's what we've done with her.
So that's an employee that's doing the business development.
Yep, it's an employee. Yep. And she also helps like for brand building, reviews, customer experience. If anything goes south on anything, she's the one who puts out the fire. Like she's the barrier between me and the seller who's like, I want to talk to Michael, right? Like that stuff's going to come up. So she's the barrier, which is great.
Yeah, cool. Michael Smith?
Yeah, for us, we haven't. We are maybe looking into hiring Gary Harper because I'm good friends with Ryan Pineda. But we haven't done anything with it yet.
Cool. James?
We've had Gary Harper out 2 years ago. That was pretty nice. We had a pretty good structure already, and it was just more or less it kind of confirmed that we were on the right path from what we were doing. And then we had Jerry Green come out last year and did some inside sales training for a couple of days, and that was great. The team absolutely loved Jerry. Basically, the John Martinez stuff that he took over.
Yeah, we hired Gary Harper last year also. Not cheap. Probably worth it overall. Helped us structure our meetings and scorecards and things of that nature. So if you want a connection, Ryan, you can email Noah or I, and we can connect you with his team. My personal assistant that I mentioned to you guys, I'm still training her. She's only been with me about a month now. I don't even know if it's been a month, right around a month. But once I get her trained up on all the basic stuff, I'm going to have her kind of get more into I don't know if I call it business development, but it's more just like the integrator. If I have an idea, I'm like, hey, here's the idea, take it, run with it, figure out who to hire, how to do it. So that'll come from within. If you have any follow-up questions on that, you can put them in there. I'm not sure if we answered your question 100%.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for the question. Jesse, what's up? If you were starting your business all over again from scratch today, what would your steps be? That's a great question. Michael's McDonald, starting all over.
That's a really good question. I feel like somebody needs to put together a YouTube series on this one, Tony.
Right?
Well, let's do it right now. We'll do a little 10-minute spiel and I'll put it on YouTube.
Um, Man, I mean, I think number one is you need a blueprint, right? So, like Michael said, we also use results. I would find somebody who has exactly what I want, and I would find a way to either pay them or follow what they're telling you because they're going to have the next four steps, right? But I started with $50,000 in credit card debt, zero money, and I seeked out a mentor, and I can't tell you how important that person was for me. So that was my first step. Even though I didn't have the money, I found a way to make it work. Um, Laser focus. So a lot of you guys have heard us talk about, wholesale, innovations, creative finance, all these different types of things. I love how Michael said, just like I'm the best cash buyer. Like I'm going to laser focus on this one thing. I was laser focused on wholesale. I wanted to figure out how to be the best deal finder. So laser focus on one exit strategy and start getting those relationships that could lead to a partnership, that could lead to money. That way you're in a position to, if you can't wholesale, be able to partner with somebody to maximize that deal or whatever the case may be. So those are just a few things. And study sales, become the absolute best at that, and marketing. I mean, marketing and sales is the lifeblood of this business. So those are a few things that I would do. Sorry, it wasn't necessarily your step by step by step, but Tony will put that into a YouTube series.
Michael Smith.
Step one, make sure you understand sales. Step two, just funnel yourself leads. That's exactly what I did. I knew sales really well, and I was like, I just need leads. So I called Tony because he said he could get me leads, and it all came true.
Sweet. James.
Um, so what's really cool about that question is I actually get to do that with this licensing, and that's what's super nice. It's like, so the Knoxville guys are a new home part of the home guys version, or they bought a licensing, and what was really nice about that is I can go, hey, you don't have to spend all this money to figure anything out. I figured it out already for you. And so, I mean, it was kind of a really great leading question for what we do now. We get to do it the right way now instead of throwing everything at the wall. So we know, which I will tell you, that's probably the CRM is probably the only one that we don't like, but we know TV works. We know internet works. We know mailing works. We know our systems work. And so that's what's really great about being able to that question. I mean, we get to literally do it the right way now without going through all the little hoops and mistakes. So it's pretty awesome.
Yep. Hey, James, if anybody wants to connect with you on licensing, if you want to put your info in the chat, they can contact you somehow if you're ready for that.
Sure.
And then Michael McDonald does PPC for real estate investors as well. So Michael, if you have I don't know if you have a web domain or email or whatever you want to put in there for people to get a hold of you, they offer some great services. So, and then what's that?
Appreciate that plug. It's in the
Absolutely.
chat.
Absolutely. So I get this question asked on podcasts quite a bit, like starting all over, what would I do? I've been doing this 23 years now, made probably almost every mistake that you could make. I obviously still have some more probably coming up. But two things that I say. One is get in a room with people that are doing things that you want to do or where you want to be. That's one of the reasons that I put on these mastermind groups. I'm not charging you guys for this. This is just me kind of saying, what would I want? And so it was 2001 I started. I didn't get into a mastermind group. Now, granted, mastermind groups weren't a thing back in 2001. Neither was Zoom or, any kind of online meetings. But it wasn't until about 2013, it might have been 2012, that I started getting rooms like this, like actually physically in-person rooms. And then I realized, holy crap, there's a guy doing 100 deals a year. There's a guy doing 1,000 deals a year. I mean, it was just like mind-blowing getting in rooms with those guys and just figuring out how they thought, figuring out how they did it, and just learning from them. So I would say just reach out to anybody you can and get in rooms like this where you can get as much information as possible. The next thing would be is I think Michael or maybe both Michaels mentions sales and marketing. I would do TV again. I would do TV earlier. I haven't told the story, but in 2005, I actually reached out to a news station myself, and I went to them and I said, "Hey, I just had this idea. I'm an idea guy. Like no one told me about it. I was just like, I called a TV station, NBC, and I said, give me what would it cost to be on TV? Again, I didn't have much money back in that time. It was $3,000 a month. To me, that was a lot of money. So I'm like, okay. And they put together the shittiest commercial you could ever imagine. They're knowing what I know now, they didn't get me very many commercials at all. It was like, I think it was like 50 commercials for 3,000. Like most markets now, we can get like 300 commercials for 3,000. And I let it run for 2 months. And right at the end of the 2 months, I'm like, I've spent 6 grand. I need to shut it off. And then I got a deal and made 6 grand and got my money back. And I stopped it. And I didn't start TV up until 7 years later. And just like James said, once I figured out how to do it right and found the people that could do it right, it started clicking right off the bat. So I wish I would have kept doing it and figured it out sooner. So that's my 2 cents on what I would do differently starting out again. Branding, and part of that has to do with branding too. It's branding yourself sooner. All right, good questions here. We'll do, let's see, maybe one more. I just realized we're running time here. A lot of these are just chats going on. Okay, so let's finish it out with, I think I just have maybe one question to finish. So explain something that either is working very well for you right now, something that you couldn't live without, whether it's a system, a tool, a hire, something like that, or just some kind of piece of advice that you would give our listeners right now that would be good for them to take and run with.
All right, I can go first if you want.
Yep. Go, James.
My advice is too many people focus on deals, focus on revenue. Quit focusing on, hey, I need to do 10 deals. I need to do 20 deals. I need to do 25 deals, whatever it is. Challenge yourself and put yourself as, I need to bring in 200K of revenue for this quarter. And now that changes your mindset. You're going after the bigger deals. Too many people, in my opinion, go after these small $3,000, $4,000 deals. They mess it up for the real guys. So I always say, go for the deep discount deals. But yeah, that would be my advice.
Yeah, it's been interesting when I hear people post numbers on Facebook, you wonder what their net income is, right? Like, what are they really making on that? And then
Correct.
also when people say 7-figure business, I've said that before in a video before, but like it's so loose term. What is a 7-figure business? Is it you're netting 7 figures? Is it you're doing 7 figures in revenue? Is it you've sold 7 figures worth of something over 10 years? You know what I mean? So I agree with that. It's what numbers do you really want to focus on? And I think to me the net number is the most important.
Too many of the newbies come out and they're like, yeah, I want to do 5 deals. I want to do this deal. I'm like, let's just do a solid deal. Like you started off where some people are in markets where they do 2 deals a year, but they walk away with 500K in their pocket. So revenue, not deals.
Yep. Awesome. Michael Smith, we'll go backwards this time.
Yeah, I would say focus on the big deals. Columbus isn't known as like a really big wholesaling, but we do pretty well on it. We get a big 50 plus K assignment every month. And it's because it's just what that sales rep focuses on. And he'll get 3 or 4 deals every month and he closes 120 to 150 every month. The other thing is like just get off what your plate, what you're bad at. So for me, I don't do any paperwork or any organizational stuff at all. So just find that person and do whatever you're weak at as soon as possible. I hope you grow faster.
Yeah, good stuff. Michael McDonald.
Yeah, so ask yourself what you want. Like why are you here? Why did you start this business? I'm big on that because it was like my driving force when things were really tough. And there's roller coasters in business, right? So this business is not for everybody, but if you know what you want and you're doing it for yourself, nobody can stop you. And so don't have the business that somebody on Instagram has. Have the business that you want. So how do you define success? So define what success means to you, and you'll be a lot happier.
Good stuff. I love it. And then I'll answer one last question and give you my piece of advice based on this last question. Rick House said, any advice on someone that's starting commercials? He's starting March 4th. I would say with any marketing channel or just sales in general is to have your sales dialed in. So what I mean by that, it really starts in the beginning. You spend X amount of dollars on a marketing campaign. And we used to, for a period of time, we were actually listening to our clients' calls, and it was just atrocious, some of the calls that we heard. They either weren't answering the phone. If they did answer the phone, there was a kid in the background and they're like, hello. And, just you got to have it dialed in. Like, especially if you're on TV, people look at you as the authority. And so when someone calls, it's, hi, this is Tony, Professional Home Buyers. How can I help you today? Right? If you can't answer the phone, if it goes to voicemail, call them back very quickly. For us, we have our calls. If our lead manager can't answer, it goes to a answering service and they get their information. So at least a human answers the phone. There's actually a study that shows that if you or someone answers the phone, a human, within a certain amount of time, I can't remember what the number is, but it's like even like 5 minutes to like 15 minutes is a dramatic drop off of how likely they are to do business with you, right? So if you answer in 5 minutes or get back to them in 5 minutes compared to get back to them in 15 minutes, the drop off just starts going. I mean, we're in the world of now, right? We want something now. If we want food, we can have it dropped in our doorstep in 20 minutes, right? People just want now. So answer the phone. If you can't answer it, maybe an answering service or have it go to a voicemail where you can call them back very quickly. Get out to the lead as quickly as possible. Quick last story is back in 2000, gosh, it was a long time ago, probably 2003, 2005, somewhere in that range. I invested in a phone system that tracked phone calls. And I was in the mall. It was like 6 o'clock at night. And someone called and they hung up. I got reception. I didn't see it go into my phone. Once I got reception, it texted me and it said, hey, you have a missed call. So I called that number back and it was a seller. And I remember it was Mays, Kansas on Kadive Street. And I called them back and I said, I will be there at 8 o'clock the next morning. I was there the next morning, 8 o'clock, put the deal under contract. And she told me that she had a bunch of other investors come in later that day to look at the property. And I got that deal. So when people say a marketing campaign doesn't work, I always think, is it the marketing campaign or is it their sales process, right? Because it just takes one of those deals to make a marketing campaign. You spend $3,000 a month, you get a deal under contract, you make 30 grand, you're at a 10x return. If you miss that deal, all of a sudden you're throwing your hands up and going, this marketing campaign doesn't work. And so we've just seen that over and over with many different clients that we feel like didn't have their sales process dialed in. And once we talked them through it and really dug in, that they were able to turn that around. So, all right, this is good stuff, guys. We could probably go for another hour or two, but I'm going to respect the time of our panelists here. They are givers. Appreciate you guys coming on. They've all become friends and they're just really good people. So thank you guys for coming on. Hopefully everybody else got good value. And I don't know, maybe we'll do one of these again in the future. But for now, we'll sign off. And thanks again, guys. And thanks everybody for joining.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks for listening. If you like this video, you will love this. Please make sure you like this video and subscribe.